Hi all. So today we'll discuss about what all are the interview question is asked in the different companies. So mostly we covered all those company and the common interview questions and what are the questions they ask with the different technology based on this Java, Spring Boot, Microservices, Cloud, and AWS Cloud and others. So this is the first interview question which I collected from the Hexaware. So they have made some telephonic round of interview question, and inside they ask like what is the difference between object oriented and object based language. So they ask difference of object oriented and object based language, and then ask others is related for difference between list and set interface in collection. So the collection they are list and set interface, and then serializations. What is serializations? When to use serializations? And after that, difference between serial garbage collector and parallel garbage collector. So what is the difference when to use serial garbage collector and parallel garbage collectors? And how we will write our own immutable class. So can we create a custom immutable class? So how you will write that? And then ask other question, what all are synchronized object in collections. So have you used any synchronized object collections in collections? Others they ask others then a string, what all are the immutable class other than a string? And then ask some of the core Java, what is auto boxing and auto boxing difference, what is auto boxing, and after that class loader, how many type of class loader is there, what are the class loader, then what are the various memory in area in JVM. So we have multiple memory area in JVM like heap, stack, program counter, native and all. So this type of questions they will ask, like, and difference between composition and aggregation, when to use this composition, when to use aggregation, what is Java 1.7 features, and then what is the package of primitive data type and collection, method of object class, what is markup interface, when to use markup interface in Java, which scenario you used in your project. So that type of interview questions they will ask. What is method object class, and then what all are the design pattern which you implemented in your project. So this is related for the Hexaware interview question which I have collected. So mostly for the telephonic round it's covers 16 interview question related for this. And after that we have a CFI technology telephonic interview. So one of the company was there, so got a call from that, and I collected this interview question from this. So they ask what is the difference between throw and throws, and how to write your immutable class. The same repetition question which I already asked in Hexaware, and difference between abstract class and interface, and how are you implementing abstract class and interface in your project. Can you give me one real scenario? Difference between exception and error, what is a Spring MVC, and what is synchronized, and how to use implementation of in your project synchronized, for which scenario you used and then what is the map, when to use map, what is concurrent hash map, what is the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map. If three users are sending request, how many instance of servlet will be created? If three users are sending a request, so how many instance will be created in servlet? What method you will use to return the value of JSP? Second highest salary from the database, how you will fetch the second highest salary, how to find duplicate value in a string by using collection, and then difference between comparable and comparator. What is the error you will get when you are trying to create a instance of interface. So what type of error you will get while you are trying to create the instance of interface? Cannot instantiate the type list. So this is the CV interview questions, and after that total 14 to 15 questions they ask. And then I collected here for this cognizant interview questions. So the cognizant interview questions also have this interview questions related for like difference between SOAP and REST. So, and difference between setter injection, constructor injections, what is design pattern, why you are using design pattern, how to use design pattern, caching mechanism in Hibernate, how caching mechanism work in Hibernate, how to enable the caching mechanism, what is the ORM and JDBC, when to use ORM, when to use JDBC, what is dialect in Hibernate, and then immutable class in Java, why we need immutable class, hash code and equals post, difference between hash code and equals method, concurrent hash map. So concurrent hash map, when to use concurrent hash map, what is the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map. So these things. And then we collected from the Cisco, they asked some of the interview questions like a bean scope in a Spring Boot. What are the bean scope is there in a Spring Boot? Singleton and global session. What is the when to use singleton and when to use global session? So what is the difference between wait and sleep? Immutable class, how you will create a immutable class, what is lazy loading in Hibernate, and cascade attribute in Hibernate, what is cascade attribute and what are the value for cascade. And then after that we have a NEET and NIIT interview questions. So in that mostly they ask about the project. So what is, can you explain about your project, what type of project you are working, what are the tech stack you are using, what is your role and responsibility, what you are doing on daily work. So can you explain how many projects you have done, like this. So that questions asked. And after that, what is web service, when to use web service, and then what is the difference between JDK, GRE, and what is jar and var, how to create a jar, how to create a var, and then check exception, uncheck exception, synchronized in thread, what is runnable on thread, like this, and what is auto boxing, unboxing, when to use auto boxing and unboxing. These things they ask, and apart from this, what are the features of Java 7, Java 8, Java 6 and Java 5, differentiate between all the features of Java version with this. And then design pattern, singleton and front controller and MVC. And after that we have how to create a singleton, how to customize a singleton design pattern. And then we have a servlet context and servlet config. What is the difference between implicit object and action in struct? So suppose if they have legacy project, then they will ask servlet as JSP and struct also. And this is the one questions I remind for the emphasis. They ask various state of Hibernate. So what are the various state in Hibernate? So these things. And after that we have a Infosys interview question. So in that interview questions, how you will handle runtime exception in JSP. So runtime exception, what is IOC, what is setter getter injection, what is WSDL and what is XML. So WXDL and XML. Then they ask difference between exception and error. What is serialization, what is deserializations in Infosys, and how to increase the memory size, where we need to do, and how to increase the heap size. So that heap size, memory size and all we can increase. What are the database you will use to trigger or index? what database you'll use for the trigger and index in your project, what is the singleton, how you are using the singleton, how we will create a custom singleton, what is a key pair, and how to compare to a string, how you will compare to a string. So if you have created to a string, then how you are comparing, can main method will be overloaded, how many way we can define the thread. So these things has been covered. And after that, some of the other interview questions I seen here, these type of questions also asked here. Some of the programmatical logic also they have given in that time. So what is hashing in Java, and what is polymorphism? And then after that other question, they created one class, inside that two method they created, and then again created one class, extended this test3 method, test3 class, and after that created inside also two method with the same name, which we have in parent class. And then created a main method, and after that they created the object of test3 class, and then with the reference they are calling m1 m2, again created the class object for this test3 with the new test. And here, so these things of scenario they given, and ask for the output. And after that we seen what is annotation in Hibernate, what are the annotations you used in Hibernate while using Hibernate, what is underlying data structure in hash map, so how you are using underlying data structure in hash map, and what are the collections you used, what is underlying data structures of array list, check and uncheck exception, how do you validate the users is valid or not in application, what are the design pattern you used in Java. Then we seen one of the company Carlon in technology, so they ask this question, how to convert integer to a string in Java. With example also they ask, what is polymorphism, what is the connection pooling, and what is HQL, when to use HQL, what type of exception you are handling in Java, what is IOC and dependency. So this is the common questions, and what is auto winding, and how immutable class you will create, what is immutable class, and all. So these things, whatever we remind that I collected the interview questions. And for this Capgemini here we have what is polymorphism and the test. So this test cases here, polymorphism, then test cases. So create a class as test, and we have m1 method inside that return, and we have m2 again m1 we have with the argument, and then ask for this, what will be the output or for this program, and then what are the exceptions, how many type of exceptions will be available if we insert null in hash map as a key while retrieving, will give as a runtime error. So and then so these things will ask in Capgemini. And after that we'll see in SLK software, where we collected these questions. So what are the composition aggregation, what is superclass in Java, what is internal implementation of hash map, how will happen if there is a collection in value map, what is a static keyword in Java, what is JSP implicit, what is MVC flow, and how configure a Spring in Web XML, what is dependency injection. And these all are related for this different technology with Java, Spring Boot, microservices, AWS cloud, and then others also like database, Hibernate. What is dependency injections, how we will create an immutable class, the scope of a Spring, and then is class needed to be still like singleton. So is this required, a singleton is required in the project like this. Then this is also related for that, what is the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map, method present in Java, len.object, and then different type of cloning, what is blocking queue, difference between comparable and comparator, way of implementing thread, executor service, thread local, and what is the use of thread pool. Then others we have like what happen if I clone a singleton object, how can we make multiple thread as a synchronized in singleton, what is serialization, and um, how we make use transient keyword, what will happen if I deserialize variable when I already serialize. So this type of scenarios also will be asked. An exception hierarchy, throws and throw. Can we create on our custom exceptions? Name of the scope object exception, class loader, design pattern. What is the pattern and measure? What is difference between pattern and measure? What is fails fast and fails safe? And what will happen if I insert duplicate key in hash map? So then some of the categorized questions, which is Spring Web Service. So a Spring is what is dependency injection, what are the scope of uh, scope, and how request and prototype will work, and what is singleton and prototype, what is how you can create a configure a multiple property file, what is auto wiring, what will be happen if I make auto wire as false, what is application context, what is advice, and how you write a program for AOP, like this. And then web service, difference between a SOAP and REST, how you declare the difference response type in REST, how we can implement the security in web service, and what are the implementations did you use for SOAP. So these all are the interview questions asked, and some of the interview questions also I collected from the Vodafone interview question, where how can you integrate a Spring and Hibernate? How has mob internal work? What is the difference between get and load? How can we implement the transaction in a Spring Boot microservice pattern? So like that, we have this type of interview questions I collected with the different interview companies like this. If you want, you can refer and prepare for that, so that you get idea about these questions and all. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Thank you.